Hello, artist. It's Thursday, August 13th, 2020. It's our 77th day of drawing together. Welcome back. Hope you're having a fantastic week. It is flying by again, and it's been about 2 weeks since I was to the dentist, and I was to the dentist again today. And while it's been a couple of hours, I'm still having a very difficult time talking. So, darn those dentists. And I hope I don't have to go back for the next 6 months. So, welcome back. We are working on perspective this week. If you've tuned in, you know we're working on perspective. I brought back my house from yesterday, and I'm going to continue working on it, adding some more details into it because I realized I have not been bringing my art back and I haven't been finishing it. I've been really bad about that in the last 3 or 4 weeks. So I wanted to finish it on video today. I also have this great book that my Uncle John, who I've talked about before, gave me when I was, I don't know, 17, I think. He wrote this lovely, lovely letter to me in it, and it was 1991, and I was probably about 15. He probably gave it to me when I was 15. So it has just great how to paint and draw. Yeah, so it has all kinds of great instruction in it. I think the letter says, forget 90% of what you've read in this book and then throw the book away. But it was too beautiful to throw away, and it was very special that he gave it to me. So there's a lot of great art instruction in here. So I just wanted to share this perspective piece of a house. So we talked about drawing cubes. We haven't drawn spheres or circles, but that's a sphere, I guess. But here at this house, I thought this was interesting. The use of shadow. Where does shadow fall? We know the planes, when we look at that vanishing line, that point up there, we know where those lines go, but where does the shadow fall? Well, that in my image here would have to be where I imagine the sunlight coming. But I wouldn't want to play around with shadow unless I was out like Claude Monet looking at how shadow hits a building and where it falls. And of course, that's going to change each and every time I'm working on the image outside. But it would, I'd only be guessing if I made the shadow. And they were just guessing here too. But my guess is just like the house, roof line and walls follow a vanishing point. And this part of the roof follows this vanishing point up here. The shadow also follows the vanishing point of the house. So the vanishing point of the shadow would be over in this direction. But I'm not going to get that complicated because that, to me, creating shadow, casting shadow where it should fall, I'd rather work with a lamp or sunlight to see how that works. But that's an interesting area to look at if you want to play with how does shadow play into vanishing points. Again, here they do it with a cube. They're putting in shadow. How cool is that? To put that shadow in, and it also has that vanishing point and diminishes as it gets further away from the object. Now we know that that's true, right? When it comes to shadow, becomes more faded. The shadow definitely is darker at the base of the object where the light is being blocked, and then it gets more faded. So if you have a chance, play around with shadow on your object in your outdoor image here. So today I am going to put in some windows and doors, and then I'm going to eventually come back to this idea, and I'm going to draw a house. I want to design a house with different dimensions. Right now this one is a little bit, it's a little bit tall and a little bit narrow. So, and the roof peak is a little bit off, I think, compared to how it might be. So this is going to be a very, very simple building. Maybe it's more of a barn than a house. But anyway, there's the door. And it was Frank Lloyd Wright who said something to the effect of, consider it just as important to build a chicken coop as it is a cathedral. So he believed that every building mattered, no matter how small or the significance of it, that it was important and that we should put our time and effort into it. Okay, so now when I put a window in this very narrow side panel of my house, the side wall of my house or building, it needs to also follow that same plane and vanishing point. So again, I'm going to line up my ruler along the side of the house and I'm going to move it over. So my window, it's a little bit low to the ground there, matches that because it would in real life. And I don't have an eraser. So I'm stuck with whatever I draw here today, which is a good lesson in humility, always. Okay, so again, I'm going to put in the bottom of the window and I'm going to follow that vanishing point. Now this is, again, it's going to look a little odd because my house looks so narrow, but I am being true, except for right there, true to my vanishing point here, true to that plane of my house. Okay, so, well, this line shouldn't be there. I would do the same thing if the window has any panes in it. I would put the pane down the center. And then I'd put the center horizontal line to my vanishing point. I'm not sure that that was to my vanishing point. And you can see it's a little off, I think. Yeah, I didn't go quite the same right direction, but there's a window in my house. Now it looks all funky because remember, you saw yesterday I said I'd probably be standing somewhere in this area here, and I'd be staying really kind of full on the front of my house. But then the side would appear very different in perspective. It would just certainly get smaller as I looked, as it moved away from me, or as I looked down it. But this is getting a very, very slim view of my house. So I brought some charcoal out today. I just want to add some trees and think about scale. So I think in one of my drawings the other day I added some trees. So I'm going to put a big tree here in a house my mom and dad built when I was just 4, almost 5. They built an A-frame, which was really cool back in the 70s. And they one time went on a vacation up north and they brought back a little tiny sapling and they planted it on the side of our house, much like this. And today, I don't know if that, we don't live there anymore. Once in a while I'll drive to that town and see what my old house looks like. It looks nothing like it did back then, and I'm very disappointed because it was really a very cool place back then, and now it does not look that great. But the tree had gotten very big over the years. The pine tree had gotten very big, so it makes me think of that. Now I'm going to put some, also going to put some pine trees back here. Now these could be gigantic trees, but they're back there on the horizon, so who knows how big they really are. That's the thing about perspective and aerial perspective. We just don't know how big these things are until we get to them. I bet you've traveled different places in your days and around the world and around the country, and something appears so tiny, and then you get up to it and it's massive and gigantic. I can't think of what that might be right now for me, but mountains, I guess, you know, they look so, they're way, way back there. They seem so far away. And then as you get closer to them, they're just magnificent and so much bigger than you could have imagined that they were. So now trees don't call for the same perspective because they're round and dimensional, and they're not square like a house or a building would be. So they don't need the same kind of attention to perspective. One of my favorite images that has a house in it is Christina's World. If you know that painting by Andrew Wyeth, try to find it in the next couple of days. I have it in an art book somewhere, and we have a great Andrew Wyeth book around here, which I'm not sure it's in there, but You probably know that image, the house. It looks like a colonial house, wood house. It sits on the top of a hill, and then there's a big, big grass field, and Christina is laying, or sitting with her legs kind of under her, sitting kind of in a laying pose though, and looking out at the house. And I think it's such a great image, and you can read into it so much about what must she be thinking. What is that about? What is that home in the image? Is it her home? Is it an empty home? Do people live there? Is it abandoned? Is it a home that brought her happiness, or a home that makes her think of sadness? What is that home? All of these images in our life, all of these different places, times have different meanings for all of us, and different paintings that we see. We could all have so many different interpretations of it, and that one makes me think so many things. I had a teacher in high school who had a tie, a Christina's World tie. You never knew what painting it was or who the painter was when he wore it, but it was a pretty cool time. And I love to see when someone appreciates a piece of art and that they incorporate it into their life in some way. Okay, so there is my image. It's coming more and more to life. Put another big pine tree here. Okay, tomorrow we're going to be talking about scale in perspective. So things that are close up appearing gigantic, and things that are far away seeming very, very tiny. So more perspective. We'll end perspective tomorrow. And then next week we're answering questions about art and the universe of art through our own image making. Or maybe we're not, but that's my plan. So we'll see what kind of questions can we answer through our own art making. And I know as an art therapist we can answer a lot of questions about ourselves and about the universe through our art, and our specifically through our curiosity about the world around us. Okay, looking better. It's not a professional building, but it's looking better. It's coming more to life, I should say. I don't like the idea of better or worse, but I like when things come to life, when art is given life. Okay, have a wonderful day. I'll see you back here tomorrow. Happy art making.